Went home. I rested for the first time in a long time. I rested for a few weeks. And then after that, I chose an agent in the agent process because in the NFL nowadays, if you have an agent, it's hard to make it. And so went through that whole process. That was extremely strenuous and stress inducing, but ended up working out. I found a really good agent who actually represented my dad when my dad played. And so that worked out. He's local. He's done a lot for me. And so after that, I chose a training facility. I went out to Fort Myers, Florida, and trained for 3 months from January to March. Got a lot stronger, faster, got a lot leaner, and just got a lot better as an athlete over there. And then transitioned to my pro day. I actually got into the University of Washington pro day per my agent, which was a huge blessing, and did really well there. A lot of scouts were super impressed with my day overall, how I looked, how I tested, and so definitely kind of put myself on the map, put ISU on the map, and I showed out in front of a lot of top draft picks. Like there's 2 first-round DBs that were at the University of Washington pro day, and I did well in front of those guys, and so definitely got some good exposure there. And since then, just been kind of in like loose contact with a bunch of NFL teams, trying to figure out where I'm going to fit in the draft, free agency, what teams want me to do, where my fit is, whether that's receiver, tight end, special teams, power slot. And so it's been a super long journey. That's just short story, condensed for me, but it's been really enjoyable. It's been fun to actually be able to focus on myself for once and just be able to focus on my own performance and doing all of that. I've been planning a wedding at the exact same time. So it's been a chaotic life for me, but it's been good chaos.
Hey, Tanner, Greg Wood with the Idaho State Journal. How new has this whole process has been for you? Because like as far as like trying to find an agent and getting things set up with going to train down to Florida, like how new was all of those things for you? And like how did you kind of figure out like what each step needed to be to get where you are now?
Yeah, it was an extremely new process for me. Agents started contacting me about my junior year. So basically my breakout year before COVID hit. I started to get some good exposure that way. And so I probably had around 30 to 40 total agents hit me up from the process from my junior year to my last game of my senior year. And that process was strenuous because you build relationships with a lot of guys over the years who come and they watch every single game and they're keeping up with you. And all of a sudden you have to pick one. And so you have to tell other guys no. And for me, it was kind of heartbreaking for me because I had a lot of good relationships with a lot of guys, but you can't choose them all. And so obviously you got to choose what's best for me. And so I chose what's best for my long-term development. And choosing my agent who's local out of here. Also had a connection with my dad because he represented my dad as well. So he kind of had to step up over competition, but it was just a really like stressful process for me because I really don't like letting other people down, and so I did let a lot of agents down, and so but that's life. It was a good learning experience for me. You get to learn how to develop and network, and I left good impressions on all of them. There was no animosity between me and other guys, but and then from there, choosing a training facility was almost similar because you want to choose a place that's going to be the best for you, and so the one I chose was specifically for me because Jordan Llewellyn, the head strength trainer at Fort Myers X3, which is where I trained, hit me up 2.5 years ago before any agent ever hit me up. And I was like, who's this guy? Like, he's talking about NFL training. Like, I'm not even a starter yet. And he's like, dude, I've seen some of your film. I've seen your track times. Like, you're going to be a guy in a few years. I want to be, grateful to train you. And so having somebody like that reach out so early in my career and believe in me from that process kind of gave me a Hillary Merkley vibe. And so I was super grateful for that. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go with this guy. His facility was fantastic. It was brand new up in Florida because he was actually in Nashville for most of his training career. And then he just opened up in Florida. And so I went out there and it was a perfect fit for me. Had everything I needed from resources to food to training equipment. And so both the processes were similar because you have to kind of weed out and learn things on your own and learn as you go. Lucky for me, I'm a super analytically driven person. And so I look at data like nobody's business. And so I was able to kind of weed people out that way. And so it was a stressful process, but I learned a lot from it. It's going to help me out later down the road in life.
What was the name of the guy down in Florida, and then what is his like facility called?
Jordan Llewellyn is the head trainer, and then the facility is called X3. It used to be called Boost Performance. It's X3 in Florida, and it's in Fort Myers. Brand new. Like we were his inaugural class, and so it was a blast down there.
Huh. And then who's your agent again?
Cameron Foster.
Okay.
So he's a local Pacific Northwest guy. He loves picking up big sky guys. He likes looking for diamonds in the rough, and he's been in the business for a few decades now. So he's got some experience behind him.
Tanner, just curious because you said it, you showed out at your pro day. What's kind of changed since then? Has it been a lot more contact with teams or sort of more the same?
Yeah, so I always knew that like scouts were looking at me, but I never really had any direct contact. And then like literally right after the pro day ended, we did our route script. We were the last group to go, and I had at least like 10 teams come up to me and like, man, that was a really impressive day. Like you look great out there. And then like they liked me so much they actually added a tight end drill for me afterwards and started putting me through some tight end stuff because like we want to see how you move throughout these drills. And so like for me, getting like special treatment like that is super new for me. And I had every single team watching me because I think we had 29 of 32 teams at the UW Pro Day, and they're all just watching just me do some tight end drills, and they were all interested. So since then, they just said keep in touch. Like a lot of us will be watching from afar, and I've had different scouts hit me up and ask, for my draft day information, is this number going to be good for me? Which is a good sign because that means you're hoping they're going to call you on draft day and see where you're at. So now it's kind of like a little game where you have to kind of convince them that there's a lot of other teams looking at you so they can kind of find it out and see who really wants you the most and where the best fit will be. But I've had some great relationships with guys that as cutthroat as the NFL is, like the guys I've been talking to scout wise and coaching wise are really genuine people who care about you. And so it's been a cool process.
I'm sure your versatility is appealing, but how do you sort of, because you don't know necessarily if the team who you end up with wants you as a receiver or tight end as a now, like you said, how do you sort of prepare for that in terms of your body? Because obviously tight end, you're probably going to want to bulk up a little bit more. So how are you handling that in the meantime?
So luckily for me, the tight end is an evolving position where the tight ends are getting smaller and faster and the receivers are getting bigger and stronger. And so now I'm kind of stuck in between. For me, they've always asked, what's the heaviest you've been? I've said 241. I usually stay around 230. Like right now I'm 232. And so now it's kind of like, well, should I start bulking or should I kind of keep the same weight? For me, I've just been staying on my meal plan that I had in Florida. I got down to like 7% body fat and I'm still 230 pounds and been sticking to a really strict diet. It's been tough eating ground turkey and rice every day, but you get used to it after a while. So I asked him too, like, should I be like bulking or staying the same way? Like, dude, just do whatever you've been doing right now. Like whatever we want you out, we'll get that done. Like when we get you as a player. And so I even asked one of the coaches, like, is there any drills I should be practicing out in the field? He's like, no, I don't want you to learn anything like that are bad habits before you come and actually get good coaching from me. And so as ambiguous as that is, it kind of takes a little bit of stress off you knowing that, hey, just keep training the same way I've been training. And then like once a team picks me up, like they're going to do what they want for me because every team's will want me to do a little bit different thing for them. So training wise, it's kind of just been the same, just trying to stay in shape and stay ready.
Hey, Tanner. So you talked a little bit about the attention you got, especially on pro day from NFL teams. What's it been like, to get that attention from pro teams and to, see your name floated around on draft boards and places like that? It's
been pretty surreal for me because I think the coolest thing about my story is going to be looking back at what I overcame to get to this opportunity. I was a kid out of high school with no scholarships. Like I've told this story a million times and, Hillary Merkley wanted me for track and saw my passion in football and ended up giving me a football scholarship when I had no other offers or interest. And so if you have a kid who comes out of high school, he's tall, skinny and scrawny, he puts on 50 pounds and all of a sudden he's an NFL prospect. He gets potentially drafted or goes to a team and hopefully makes active roster. I think that does a lot for other kids who are in similar situations and also helps out smaller schools like Idaho State. There's a lot of FCS talent out there that's never going to get looked at, no matter how good they are. And that's just the reality of the beast that the NFL is. And so for me, I'm just super blessed to have the opportunity and just to like have so many different things happen in my life with, team records, like stats, just situations and what's happened for me, like to be as the position I'm at, I'm super grateful for it because a lot of guys are in the same position. I'd never have the opportunity. And so I think it's going to be a really cool story for me in the end. I think that's really my purpose in life is kind of showing that to other people.
And specifically with Idaho State, how has your time in Pocatello helped prepare you for this next chapter of your career?
Yeah. So regardless of records, my stats or anything, I'm super grateful for ISU and what they did for me. I met a lot of good coaches. Rob Fennessy was my coach for my entire career, and he taught me more than anything else I've ever learned. I still actually text him to this day. He still helps me out with X's and O's type stuff. And he taught me pretty much how to be a better football player. And so I'm super grateful for him. Obviously, Hillary Merkley was a fantastic resource for me, both helping me become a 3-time Big Sky champion and also helping me become a better person in life as well. And then developing in the weight room under Coach Ryan and Coach Stevens was fantastic for me. Like putting on 50 pounds as a receiver and getting faster is pretty unheard of. And so Just a testament to the work those guys put in the weight room and how much they care about their athletes. ISU was a very big blessing for me, from both just training from coaches to, seeing Blair at Streamline and then doing interviews with Steve. Steve was always my guy because he would come to me after the losses because I was the most level-headed person to come to interviews. So I enjoyed all my interactions with everybody there, and ISU has great people. I was super happy to be there and meet my soon-to-be wife. So nothing could be better than that.
And when's your wedding?
June 25th.
June 25th. Where's that going to be?
It's going to be in Enumclaw, Washington.
Where's that?
It's by Seattle. Everything over here is by Seattle. So.
Okay. Because you're from Kent, right? But that's basically Seattle too.
Yeah, about 40 minutes south of Seattle.
Yeah. Okay. Are you watching like draft boards? Are you like checking them out every now and then, or like what's your how do you kind of handle that?
Yeah, it's hard not to. I know Kelsey's always on Twitter typing in my name and seeing what people are tweeting about me because there's a lot of buzz around my name. And draft boards have you anywhere from guys saying, hey, this dude could be a 4th round pick. Not realistic, but like people say that. And then like more realistically, I'm looking at 6th, 7th. I've seen myself in 6th, 7th round draft boards. And so for me, that's really cool. Of course, it's all speculation. Like coaches have a way different ideology and knowledge about players than, fans do or, draft analysts do. But for me, being in such a competitive wide receiver class and such a giant COVID NFL draft class, to be drafted at all would be huge coming out of Idaho State and just my journey. But it's hard not to look at those boards because you see your name and you get excited, but you don't want to get too excited because it doesn't happen. You don't want to be disappointed. And so for me, I'll just be happy to have the opportunity, but being drafted would be amazing.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you acknowledge you're checking them out. A lot of kids are like, oh, I don't look at them at all. Come on, dude. Come on.
Yeah. No, it's hard not to. You have to look at them. You want to at least see what other people are saying about you. So
yeah. How do you put on 50 pounds to get faster? How does that work?
A lot of strength training. And so when I initially got here, Coach Ryan was big into Olympic weightlifting. And so I fell in love with the weight room because I was tired of people asking me in high school why I wasn't as big as my dad, because my dad was a 245-pound linebacker at Oregon. And so like I had to Idaho State, like, dude, like I have the cafeteria, all I can eat buffet at Turner. Like I'm just going to go eat chicken every day. I'm going to eat like as much food as I can. I'm going to go lift 5 times a week. And so, a little bit of help with testosterone when you start to develop as a male, because, between the ages of 18 to 23, you really start to develop. And my family have always been late bloomers where we kind of develop later. My brother's going to be a similar way as a linebacker for you guys right now. But I just had a goal for me, and I just wanted to prove a lot of people that I could, attain some things I never thought I could. And I think the biggest thing for me was my track background, because a lot of football guys will get bigger, but you see them get stiffer, you see them get slower, less mobile. For me, I was able to put on weight and then translate it onto the track. And, with hurdles, you have great mobility and you learn how to run properly. And so I was just in tandem doing the same thing back and forth, getting stronger weight room, running track. And so I think that's a huge testament to how I got bigger and faster in running the times that I did.
Wait, so you were eating at the ISU cafeteria, like for just like regular students?
Oh yeah. My first year I lived in Turner Hall, and my meal plan was the Turner cafeteria. So I got 3 meals a day and you get all you could eat. So that's what I was pounding down every single day.
Okay. I guess just like part of me thought that you would have like something different going on for being like a football player there, but I guess you're just kind of like regular student athlete in some ways.
My first year, yeah. When you move off campus, you get like a stipend and whatnot. But my first year was just, if you're on campus, you get like flex money. I opted out of flex. I'm like, bro, I'm just getting the cafeteria. So it was a grind. I was coming out the projects out of Turner, but it worked out for me.
The project of Pocatello, Idaho.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you hanging out now?
So I'm in home right now. I'm actually in my brother's room because my parents decided to buy a new house while I was in college and not have a room for me back home. And so I come home and take Zach's. And so I'm just chilling at home. I'm training, I'm getting PT done, I'm doing a lot of work. My dad, during COVID, I actually built us an entire gym in our garage, so I can do weightlifting. I can squat, bench, and do everything in there. And we got dumbbells. So it's pretty luxurious for me. I get to just kind of chill at home and then go work out, and then go do my PT or on-field work at my high school. So that's what I've been doing back in Washington, anxiously waiting for the draft.
Yeah. What are you going to be just like working out until then? Or like, what are you going to be like, I guess it gets closer. Are you going to start getting anxious, you think? Or like how are you going to kind of be spending the time as it gets closer?
Oh yeah. I mean, the anxiety's been flowing for the last couple of weeks. So as it gets closer, obviously people start to say things. You have friends and family who are like, man, he's going to get drafted, and you don't want high expectations or anything. But until then, the best advice I've ever had is just to stay ready so you don't have to be ready when they call your name. And so I just keep training the way I am and just stay healthy. That's the best thing you can do for an NFL player. Is the healthier you can stay, the longer your career will be. So just focusing on stuff like that and PT and just keeping my body right.
Tanner, have you felt a lot of support from the Pocatello community and the Idaho State community throughout this whole process?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of former players who check up on me. It was really rewarding for me to know the impact I left on the football players and the track athletes that I was like, when I was a senior and they were freshmen. Because my biggest thing out of ISU, I didn't want my legacy to be about football or my Big Sky championship titles or anything like that. I wanted to be on like how it impacted people. And so my brother tells me all the time about how people talk about me and ask him about how I'm doing and stuff like that. And so for me, that's more rewarding than any success I've had on the field or on the track, because I know that I impacted people that I wanted to be impacted when I was a freshman. So for me, that was super rewarding. I have a lot of guys I still keep in touch with. A lot of them are coming to my wedding. And so just to have that support from Pocatello, obviously, like, we haven't had a guy who's been, like, we've had guys who've had chances in the NFL, but to have as much buzz around their name as me, it's been a while. And so support's been fantastic, even from the new coaches. I haven't met a lot of the new coaches, and everybody says they have pictures of me up on their walls in the offices. And so for me, that's just amazing. It just shows how much like a testament my legacy was there, and how much of an impact I left on Pocatello when I left. And so there's a lot of support coming out of ISU for me.
And what are your plans for the draft? You're going to be watching every pick, or sort of, trying to keep your mind off of things? Or
yeah, so I think we'll be doing my draft party probably at my agent's house. He lives up on Lake Washington. And so obviously first, second day, not super likely. We'll probably just sit back and watch and enjoy it. And then hopefully the third day your name gets called and teams start calling you. And so just try to enjoy it and just enjoy the process. Every single coach I've talked to has said, this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Don't get caught up in the anxiety of what's going to happen on your path. Just enjoy it and just be thankful for the opportunity. And so we'll enjoy the first couple of days, watch the top round picks go, and hopefully the right team with the right fit will pick me up, and we'll go from there.
Wait, so what happens on day 2 if you're not expecting to get picked? You're just hanging out. You're like, oh, I just got picked.
Well, you got your phone ready. You always have your phone ready. So if someone calls, you answer and you say, yep, that sounds good to me. I'll head there on a flight, whatever I can. So
yeah. Wait, is that the way? Oh, sorry. Is that the way it works? Like you get a phone call, hey, we're gonna pick you with whatever number pick, and then you just pack a bag and get on a flight? Or like what? I don't know if you know like what the process is, but like how does that work?
So essentially I think there's a short downtime between the actual draft and then the first rookie OTAs, but pretty much after that phone call, you're like, okay, let's start getting whatever stuff I need ready and then find a place out there to move into. And so from my knowledge, there's a short like week or 2 downtime before you go over and start doing OTAs and stuff. But that's pretty much how it goes. It's just, bam, bam. And you fly out there and start your new life. And so hopefully you get active rosters, then your fiance can come down and move with you as well, and then start your life down there. But that's pretty much how it goes. I'm ready to move out. I don't have much stuff with me anyway. I don't own anything. I don't have any money. So I'm ready to go.
Yeah. That's about all I had. What's your fiance's name again?
Kelsey Breer. She played softball at Idaho State.
Oh, sweet. I didn't even know that. That's
yeah.
awesome.